Hey guys, so in one of my more recent videos, I said that I wasn't going to buy books anytime soon. It was probably my last book haul. And what do you know? I'm back with another book haul. I made the mistake of browsing my local used bookstore, which is really small, and I usually am lucky to find like one or two things. I found 10. And one of them, I don't know if I'm gonna read or not. I got it for my dad, which I'm gonna save for Christmas. So I guess technically only 9 are for me. It's a little excessive. Alright, the first book that I got, which I have read, but I won't say anything about until my wrap-up video, was A Stolen Life by Jaycee Dugard. And I've always wanted to read this, I've just never found it. I've looked at, like, it was always checked out at my local library, and I've like passively looked for it for a couple years now, and then I forgot all about it, and I just happened to stumble upon the memoir section, and I found this, and you know, it's kind of one of those stories that it's painful to read, but it's also really interesting just for how horrific it is. But this book is good but difficult to read for obvious reasons. The next book is Brooklyn, and I have no idea how to pronounce the author, so I apologize. I have not seen this movie, not really because I was planning on reading the book first, which is weird because Saoirse Ronan is one of my favorite actresses, so it's surprising to me that I haven't seen this, but I saw the book and I was like, I might as well read it and then I'll watch it. All I know about this is it's a coming-of-age story, so we'll give it a go. The next book I picked up was Adrift by Callahan. And I absolutely love like survival memoirs. They're my favorite, and I actually haven't read that many. So if you have any recommendations, please leave them down below. So this book is a first-hand account by the only man known to have survived for more than a month alone at sea, fighting for his life in an inflatable raft after his small sloop capsized only 6 days from port. Racked by hunger, buffeted by storms, scorched by the tropical sun, Callahan drifted for 1,800 miles, fighting off sharks. I'm sorry that my camera is shaking because my cat is on my nightstand. Okay, we're good now. Fighting off sharks with a makeshift spear and watching as 9 ships passed by. Adrift is a story of anguish and horror, of undying heroism, hope, and survival, and a must-read for any adventure lover. So I am super excited to start this. I cannot wait. The next book is The Clay Girl by Heather Tucker. And I have never heard about this. The back summary, like the first 2 lines, I was just like, I have to buy it. I have to know, like, what is this? So it says, Vincent Appleton smiles at his daughters, raises a gun, and blows off his head. For the Appleton sisters, life has unraveled many times before. This time it explodes. 8-year-old Harriet, known as Ari, is dispatched to Cape Breton with her Aunt Mary, who is purported to eat little girls. But Mary and her partner Nia offer an unexpected refuge to Ari and her steadfast companion Jasper, an imaginary seahorse. So with a summary like that, you can't not pick it up. The next book my psychology self is nerding out about, because once again, I don't buy many books like from Amazon or from a bookstore. I usually get most of mine used. So there's a lot of books on my TBR, or I guess on my to be purchased, that it takes a while for me to get my hands on. But this one was in the memoir section again of my local used bookstore, and it is called My Lobotomy, a memoir. Howard Dully and Charles Fleming. So any of you psych nerds out there know that lobotomies are one of the most messed up but most interesting parts of the history of psychology. Here's the summary. My name is Howard Dully. In 1960, when I was 12 years old, I was given a lobotomy. My stepmother arranged it, my father agreed to it, Dr. Walter Freeman, the man who invented the ice pick lobotomy, performed it. So he was like the patient of the OG lobotomizer. My family paid the hospital $200 and I never understood why. I wasn't a violent kid, I had never hurt anyone, I wasn't failing out of school. Was there something I'd done so horrible that I deserved a lobotomy? I asked myself that question for more than 40 years. Then when I turned 54, I went looking for the answer. I'm so stoked! The next book I picked up was Here Lies Hugh Glass by John T. Coleman. And I've heard of this book for a very long time. I've like forgotten about it and then rediscovered it. So I will read you the summary of this. In the summer of 1823, a grizzly bear mauled Hugh Glass. The animal ripped the trapper up, carving huge chunks from his body. Glass's companions slew the bear, but his injuries mocked their first aid, so they fled, taking Glass's gun, knife, and ammunition with them. But Glass didn't die. He began crawling towards Fort Kiowa, hundreds of miles to the east. The bastards who left him to rot were going to pay. So, a historian wrote this based on accounts left by Glass's contemporaries and the mythologizers who used his story to advance their literary and film tickets. The whole story, I remember hearing about this story, and I'm excited because it discusses, like, I'm sorry, Cindy is going crazy right now. It discusses all the, like, themes and ways that this story has been portrayed and used in different films and all that kind of stuff, so I'm excited. The next book is Wild by Cheryl Strayed, and another book I've been meaning to read for a long time and happened to find it at this bookstore. I have never seen the movie. I've been wanting to read the book before I see the movie. I've heard very mixed things about the movie and the book, actually, so I'm excited to, like, form my own opinion of it. But this book is basically a memoir about this lady who's has a bunch of, like, family problems, and she decides to make an impulsive decision and hike more than 1,000 miles of the Pacific Crest Trail from the Mojave Desert through California and Oregon to Washington State. And so it's about why she did it, what she learned from that experience of hiking that far, and I'm super excited. The next book I picked up was Specimen Days by Michael Cunningham. And if you remember from my top 5 fiction novels, Michael Cunningham is the author of my favorite book, The Hours, and I've only read one other book by him, which I believe was called Nightfall, and I didn't love it, so I'm excited to read a third one by him to see if The Hours is just my favorite book, and, you know, he's not like an author that I should keep following. You know, that was like his one book that I absolutely love, but him in general isn't for me, if that makes sense. So the plot of this is, in Specimen Days, Michael Cunningham celebrates America in all its grime and glory, its poetry and its terror, from the Industrial Revolution to a post-apocalyptic future. As a man, a woman, and a boy reappear in different guises in different centuries, the novel itself moves from a Victorian ghost story to a contemporary psychological police thriller, and finally to a futuristic love story. So, sounds very intriguing, and we'll see, Michael Cunningham. Alright, this next book is the one that I picked up for my dad, because it sounds like something he'd like, and I feel like I remember him mentioning it before, but he's never read it. And this is called The Swarm, a novel by Frank Schatzing. And this thing is a thick boy. So the plot of this is, whales begin sinking ships, toxic eyeless crabs poison Long Island's water supply, the North Sea shelf collapses, killing thousands in Europe. Around the world, countries are beginning to feel the effects of the ocean's revenge as the seas and their inhabitants begin a violent revolution against mankind. At stake is the survival of the Earth's fragile ecology and ultimately the survival of the human race itself. So it sounds really cool, and it sounds like I might read it before I give it to my dad. The last book I picked up was Carrie Fisher's memoir, Wishful Drinking, and I'm very excited to get to know a little bit more about her. Alright guys, those are my books from a book haul that I probably shouldn't have had happen because I shouldn't have bought them in the first place, but I'm very excited and I hope you enjoyed. Let me know if you've read any of these or if you've heard of any of these, and I will talk to you later. Bye.